Inspiration Nation. Hello, Lee Kemp here for another week on the podcast. Once again, Jose is away on his holidays, but Ryan is here. So the A team of Inspiration Nation is going ahead this week. How you doing, Ryan?
Yeah, not too bad. We're the younger two, right? Is
We
that
are
the
the
way we
younger
look at
two.
this?
I like it. I can put myself on this side of the fence, even though I might be closer to Joe than you. But we won't reference that. What's
But
that?
when it's just you and Joe, I refer to you two as the older two. So
So I'm in the young club now, am I? Is
you're
that how it
you're
works?
both. You sit on both
I'm
sides.
the middle ground, am I? I know which one I'd rather be in, but I know which one I'm actually in, and they're not the same thing, unfortunately. Right, so we are without this week TikTok because Jose runs the channel. We are live on YouTube. Pop on there and join us. Just for both Jose Noya-Inspiration Nation, stick it in your Google machine, follow, like, subscribe, whatever the buttons are on the platform. You'll get told when we go live each and every week. Get involved in the podcast. And of course, across all those platforms, if you're listening audio, like, subscribe as well, leave a review, tell friends and family. All that stuff is great. That saved me doing that all at the end in case we run out of time. See, clever.
Not
Right,
bad.
so this week I want to take. I think we will find a quote for this in the end, but I want to take us in a slightly different direction if I can, not directly into a quote. And we'll bring in as our third man. We'll bring in a bit of AI to support us with this as we go through the conversation. But I saw
Okay.
something not in the news today. I've seen something that's been going on for a little while now on my socials. The one used to have a bird. It's now got an X on it. And I don't know if you see. I'll try to get these off my feed because it's not really what I'm on there for. I'm mostly on there because I'm a loser and I follow loads of wrestlers on there. But it's getting filled with conspiracy theories about this whole whoever it was. I'm going to say celebrities into space thing. I know Katy Perry was one of them and a few
Oh,
others.
I've seen a bit of this.
And it's just non-stop with like I liken it to moon landing conspiracy videos about this, like hundreds and hundreds and the comments are just non-stop with this, and I'm like, why has everyone got such a passion for this being a conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
It just overwhelming, and I don't know if it's what's forced. I mean, it's weird that it's forced through my feed because I don't follow anything like that. It's the same as you get all the Elon Musk stuff coming through, but the conspiracy theory stuff on this is going wild, and looking at the videos and saying, look at this, and look at this, and why is this like this, and why is this like this? And then I saw one for a bit of, I mean, I haven't read many, but enough to get a bit of context, where it's saying, well, and I'll do my best Simpsons, you know, the itchy and scratchy bit where the guy's like, well, in episode 47G, you press two different xylophone keys and they make the same sound. Can you clarify how this happened? And I read the same thing where it's like, well, yeah, I know they're talking they went into space, but technically they didn't go through whatever the freaking layer is. That means they technically didn't go into space, although
Yeah.
they were however many hundreds of thousands of miles up, and you know they only got a bit of weightlessness because of this and blah. And I'm like, that. I mean, it's almost like, well, I said it's conspiracy, but maybe it happened, but technically they didn't go to space, and it's like you were really splitting hairs, and I'm not even sure what point you're trying. Well, I don't know what the point is. They went in the ship, they went up. The footage is correct. It did whatever it did for whatever purpose. I don't really know the purpose. It's not relevant to me, but it
Okay, I was going to
happened.
ask you that.
But the fact they technically didn't go as many miles to be actually in space and on the edge, I don't know what difference that makes to anyone or what point's trying to be proven. But people are really passionate about this.
Yes.
And
Um,
you go before I chip
I
in
I was
next.
going to say I've not I've probably seen about the same amount as you have. I've not a lot at all, maybe two or three posts. Um, One of them is there four or five of them? They lose weight. Um they lose their weight or their gravity pull, whatever it
Yeah.
is, and they float around. And um, but then I've seen it all quote tweeted or quote reposted, whatever phrase they use these days, and he talks about how it was impossible and all this other rubbish. And I thought, well, has she done it for an album or like a song release or something silly like that? And it's just a gimmick, so to speak. But apparently, no, she actually tried to. They actually did attempt. It was a real thing that actually happened, and she spent money on it. And I don't know what, as like you, I don't know what purpose it served, but they actually did apparently attempt to do it. But like again, like you, and I share your view, I don't really understand why people are so bent out of shape about the specifics of whether they entered space or didn't enter space, or what happened or why it happened or anything like that. It kind of personifies on quite a large scale um, a lot of the topics we talk about, where people have opinions on everybody else that has nothing to do with them,
Yeah.
and how those kind of things can really influence your own mental health and your own mental kind of situation, and kind of put you back a lot of places. Maybe I'm dramatizing it quite a bit, and laying it on thick, but it's no different to your neighbour Linda down the road that didn't put her bin in.
Oh, Linda.
It's nothing to do with you, right? Obviously, the actual specifics are very different, but the principle's the same in that it annoys you, but there's no reason for it to annoy you. And then you take a third part of that process. You're then posting about it on social media. You're posting Facebook posts about Linda's bin, or you're posting comments on Twitter or TikTok to Katy Perry's space trip, or not space trip.
She didn't technically go through the layer, so it wasn't a space trip, Ryan.
Trying to find out a bit more information about it.
See, this is it. We're bringing in the internet as our third. So I don't know the wider context it was to get to, and I want to stick with the subject. Is this? I don't know. I don't know if it's wired in us, and I don't know if it goes back to like a primitive survival thing and all that stuff that's hardwired in our brains for whatever reason. But I just think there seems, as overall as a people, there's just this need to have fight almost. And if there isn't something to fight, you find things to fight, and you get this. There's a lot of conspiracy stuff there, wider governments, New World Order, aliens, blah blah, X-Files stuff going back to '90s, and all this kind of. I knew people who used to refer to people who didn't fight the fight as like sheeple, and you're just going along with the herd, and it's almost like if you're happy and just living your life, you're in the wrong. And it's that deep-seated need somewhere in some people to, I don't know, fight the negativity, as opposed to, and we've said it before, we said it's tough. To be happy is actually a challenge, and you have to push out all that negativity. And is some of this like the ultimate antithesis of that negativity just pushing through in people? I don't know. Just spitting out lots of theories and thoughts here, and not to be, this is a generalised thing rather than for anyone specific. It just really struck me this week that it was so much conversation about something that, we're in a day and age now where people going into space is not a big deal. No matter who they are and how they got there, and whether it's a step towards commercial stuff and they spent a load of money on it, we send people into space all the time. We have a manned space station in space. It's not a big deal, but it's become this massive deal. What have you found?
On April 14th, 25, Katy Perry participated in Blue Orange.
Uh-oh, we've lost Ryan. What has happened on the podcast? And how do we...
Am I not here?
Oh, you're back. Carry on. Carry on. You're back.
My internet connection is unstable. That's weird.
You're good. You've returned to us.
Where did I get to?
Just start again. We lost it all.
Okay. So Katy Perry participated in an all-female space flight alongside notable figures such as Gayle King, who's a journalist, and philanthropist Lauren Sanchez. Now, I don't want to be that guy, but it might be because they're all women. All women. The people on the internet had a problem with it. Despite the mission being live streamed and widely viewed, some social media users, particularly on X, formerly Twitter, began circulating conspiracy theories suggesting the flight was a hoax. One viral theory focused on the capsule's hatch appearing to be briefly opened from the inside before Jeff Bezos officially opened it post-landing, which some believed contradicted how the system would work. However, NASA states that such hatches are designed to be operable from both inside and outside. In the aftermath of the event, fast food chain Wendy's made a series of sarcastic posts about Perry on its official X account, including a tweet that read, "Can we send her back? in response to news of her return from space. The jab sparked a divided response online, with some appreciating the humour and others criticising it as unprofessional. I don't, I'm not really sure why this was a thing or what they were looking for, but it's regardless of what it was, it certainly ruffled feathers
A lot, and
online
it's just the
everywhere.
parallel between what's actually happened and the response to it is crazy, I think.
Yeah. Katy Perry has previously addressed various conspiracy theories about herself with humour. For instance, after a video surfaced showing what seemed like a glitch in her eye during a performance, leading to robot conspiracy theories, she explained the incident as a broken doll eye party trick and invited fans to witness it live during her Las Vegas residence. Yeah, I've got no idea why people have real problems about it.
This has opened a whole new thing to me of Katy Perry conspiracy theories. How do those words even go together? That's crazy.
But even in like, you ever watch Black Mirror?
I love
I'm gonna go.
Black Mirror. Yes.
Okay. I'm taking a. Have you watched any of the new ones?
No, not yet. You're going to spoil me now. You can
No, I'm
spoil
not
me.
going to spoil.
Oh, okay. Good.
I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just curious if you've seen them or not. What I like about Black Mirror is it shows technology and humanity when it's used at its worst.
Yeah.
And I feel like people picking on social media influence and going to space is something that could be a Black Mirror episode.
I see where. Yeah, absolutely.
And how the dystopia just grows and grows and grows. Um, what else? I don't remember what I was saying
I
now.
think that's a really good point on
Oh,
it because it seems to. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's had their opinion and throw stuff out there, but there's such fierceness behind this. Of I say what either is a good thing because of the the idea of commercial space travel effectively, which is this is a step towards, was like pie in the sky at one point, and we're moving a step towards it, or
yeah.
it's people with more money than sense doing something like this. But let's be honest, there's a far worse things money gets spent on and far more money than a trip up into space. Or like I said, at worst it's neutral because people go into space all the time. Yeah, great, good news, what's going on the next day. But yeah, to the point of you know they completely faked this and it didn't, and it's like, yeah, and I'm making the first point again. I just think it's crazy how far the reaction's gone, and that Black Mirror bit is exactly it, just bringing out that fierceness in people over something that's just it's like a boulder rolling down a hill now, from what I could see.
What? Oh my god, it was right there just as you were finishing. What? What was it? This isn't even the worst type of things that get spoken about online by either. People literally post articles about what celebrities wear to the shops like that, and people critique it and they go after it. And that's if that's what makes them happy, that's great. We're never kind of life shaming people on the podcast, but it's the my point is the level of detail that people will scrutinize over because they can, because that's just what is accepted is crazy.
I'm glad they
Um,
don't sit outside my house. They'd have got me in my pyjama bottoms and slippers this morning, as I do every Thursday when I
your
take
bin
my
in.
bin out, and quite often might leave it out for a couple of days. So I am a Linda.
Um, I remember what the other point I was think was. Yeah, I think you covered it pretty well. I mean, realistically, who cares? It's not you that's gone to space.
And that's
It's
it.
not.
It's more.
It's
It's
not.
this.
She's not the first person that's gone to space either. So
No, no, not at all. Well, I don't know. I think they're all conspiracies from what I've heard. They're all done in
oh
a
yeah.
film studio.
Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say.
There we go.
Is
We got you back.
that was it. It was a few years ago, and I know this still exists, but people that believe that the Earth is flat. There was a lot of it online about people believing that the Earth is flat and not round. And I'm sure that people still believe in that now. But a lot of the internet and a lot of these people that are probably picking holes in Katy Perry's story and the flat Earth stuff are just doing it because they think it's funny. They
That's
don't
true.
actually
Yeah, I can
believe the
see
Earth
that.
is
Yeah.
flat or that they know that she didn't actually go to space. But people love, well, not me, but hypothetically me, I love winding people up online because that's the kind of thing I do. And that's the other side of social media where people are trolls and take the piss just because they can. And that's the other side of what the internet and social media can
Yeah.
be like.
That's a good point, and it ties in. So I asked good old AI what the reasons are behind it. Give a perspective as to why so people are passionate about this. It gave 6 things. I'll run through them quickly because the last one ties in with kind of what I wanted to make, ties back to inspirational thing here. Number 1, which I see, is why these things are distrust of institutions and elites, that people are sceptical of, powerful institutions, governments, and I guess billionaires and things like that are becoming faster on that list now. So you've got that natural distrust there, which plays a part in everything. Second is cognitive dissonance, I think is the word, to make myself sound stupid, I don't know, but it's celebrity in science, and basically it's just there's a big disconnect between Katy Perry and spaceflight. Basically, those two things should not go together, and it's almost like a reaction to that. That it's, if you'd have said 10 years ago that sentence, people would be like, "What are you talking about?" Third is the show of it all. So basically, when space travel is commercialised, when it's all glossy or overproduced, it just looks unreal because that's not what you expect. But obviously, the age of technology we're in now, that is going to be a lot more without for your iPhone you can shoot something that looks like it was produced with a film crew 10 years ago. So
wasn't there was there a TV show, or is there something that's in the mainstream media that's shot purely on an iPhone?
that rings a bell.
Is
Google
there
that while I go through.
Yeah, go on.
Third one is internet culture and memification. This is what you said, and I read out. It says, once someone says this is fake, it spreads like wildfire. The internet thrives on skepticism, especially when it's juicy and funny. Slowed down version of something floating weirdly. Boom, 3 million views. And that's it. It takes on a life of its own. But like you said, not because people believe it or advocate in it, just because it's funny and it's a conversation point. And once someone makes a funny meme, you think of a funny version of that, a funnier version of I used to talk to you years ago with this when we used to talk with other people, where you get memes based on memes based on memes, and suddenly, unless you know 10 other memes, this one makes no sense because it's not the memes of memes has turned into the joke. So absolutely, that just takes its control, whether it's true or not, 100%.
And it takes the context of the scenario you're talking about so far out.
It's got no relevance to where it actually came from. Right now, I'm imagining Homer Simpson sitting in a bar surrounded by people with Katy Perry's head on it right now, as one person going, what the hell is going on? It's one of my favourites. There's one which is echoes of past hoaxes. So, and I've seen parallel pictures. This really echoes the moon landing hoax conspiracy theory stuff. So there's an easy, especially with the lander looking like it does with the lander on the moon and stuff. It's really easy to do. And the last one, which is need for meaning or control. And I think this is what comes back to the real point on this, is that for some conspiracy theorists, it offers a sense of control in a confusing world. Saying this isn't real simplifies the narrative. It takes away the fear and stuff that might come with a world where you can monetize space travel to this extent, which a few years ago was still a conversation, and it becomes part of that's lying to us. And I think it's wider than that. Is if you feel like you're out of control of your life for whatever reason's going on, you want to grab hold. Everyone likes to feel in control, and if you can't control the near stuff, you grab for other things. And it comes back to a Joe Circus control thing, because actually you can spend a lot of time focusing and talking this, making your world. You can control your narrative around it, and you're gaining that sense of purpose or control when you've got other stuff that you don't feel like it is in your control. And it brings us back to that fighting for happiness thing. Is actually there's probably a lot of those things that you don't feel aren't going well that you can control. It's just putting that same energy into those things, whether it's pushing on with work, paying off debt, working through an injury, whatever those things are that are long-term goals. Focusing on them is harder than the short-term control you get from something like this. But we talked about this through loads. That path to fulfillment, that path to happiness comes with a lot of hard work, getting your head down, small day-to-day victories, not those big things. And whenever I see stuff like this is what always makes me feel of. And I think, again, there's a time when I would have bought into versions of this stuff a lot more, when I did feel like the smaller stuff wasn't in my control. And it's pushing that message like we do. What are your goals? Where does your inner satisfaction come like that isn't about who left their bin out or who went to space or did they land on the moon? But what do you want to do? Break it into short goals, focus on that short, what are those little day-to-day victories you can get that starts to focus you on you, not you on everything outside of it. And I think that's that's the inspirational message that sits behind all of this for me, really. Conscious before we ran out of time, was there, you were going to look at the iPhone show. Does that exist?
Nothing that I can actually see. Although,
in which case, no one steal that. We're going to do that next week. I'll phone Netflix later.
Nothing that's like A-list. There's been like a number of films. Lady Gaga did a music video that was shot on an iPhone. A couple of independent films. It might have been what's his Tim Cook. Tim Cook might have been telling us in a presentation that you can shoot a movie on the phone now. Something along those. Maybe that's one.
And I can definitely see that blockbuster's waiting to happen. Maybe that is what we get onto next.
It'll happen at some point.
Yeah, I'll phone Mr. Netflix and pitch the show. Right. Hopefully my fleeting rambles have given some food for thought for everyone out there. Helped give that 20 to 30 minute dose of inspiration I always give every week. I'm not certain. I think Jose may be back with us next week. We'll get his view.
I thought he was back
on these last two shows, see how he thought it's gone. He will be back on the TikTok. Looking forward to our fans there joining us, getting involved with the show. Again, Jose Noya, Inspiration Nation, if you want to get involved in that, both TikTok and YouTube. He's on there every single day on YouTube. He loves it. He's not YouTube, it's on TikTok. He's on there every single day. Quite a bit on YouTube.
He is on YouTube every day as well.
He is,
not live.
Both ways.
Not live, but posting, yeah.
But if you ask to get notified, you'll get told about him each and every week. And again, whatever platform you're on, like, subscribe, tell people. That's the biggest thing. Tell people to give it a go, see what they like. Short dose of inspiration a week. Just trying to pass on our journeys and hopefully give a bit of support to people out there like we do with each other. Any closing remarks, Ryan, before I count us down?
No, I think that's it from me.
I used to like in a day you just do a nope. Just a dead nope. That's it then. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate support. 3, 2, 1, Inspiration Nation. Catch you guys later. Look at that. With 2 minutes left on the counter. We timed that quite nicely. There you go. Did you like that one?